Good evening. Welcome to the very first meeting of the Boston.com Music Club. I'm happy to have you joining us. I'm your host. My name's Adam 12. I'm on the radio weekdays from 11 to 4 on Boston's Rock 92.9. I'm also a contributor here at Boston.com. Music Club, this is our first meeting again. We meet monthly to celebrate Boston's vibrant music scene by showcasing local acts. And we're starting virtually, obviously, but hoping to meet up in person in the not too distant future. And to kick it all off, we are joined by Alston's Paper Tigers, featuring Michael Medlock on vocals, Bjarki Gudmundsson on guitar. Sorry, I butchered you. I think I got your first name right, but I butchered your last name, but okay, I'll give myself another take on that later on. Matt Hughes on bass, Cuddy Cuthbert on drums. Gents, it's great to have you here. If you could just give me and the club a bit of background on how you came together and the music that you guys are making.
Sure. My name is Mike again. I moved here from DC in 2018, and I've been in bands in DC for many years, but my last band ended in 2012, so I was kind of walking away from music, and I wasn't really like focusing on being in a band. But being new to Boston, I was like, well, what's the best way to find people and start an immediate like click, if you will. And I thought, well, I guess I'll give a band another shot, and I was really kind of like reluctant about it, but I gave it a lot of soul searching, and I thought, all right, I'm going to do this. So I put an ad on Craigslist and found these guys, and we've been rocking ever since.
Yeah, that's pretty succinct. Absolutely. I think I moved here in 2018 as well, and I was looking to get in a band as soon as I got here. I got out of the military, and I went to Craigslist. And who joins a band from Craigslist?
Right? You guys.
So I went in there, and I had like a stick. I had a stick like in my pocket. I was like, these guys might go after me.
In his defense, the ad was in like man seeking man, none of the above kind of categories. So it wasn't in music.
Buddy, where did you move here from?
I was in the UAE, so I was serving in the United Arab Emirates before I retired from the military and came here. So like my wife lives in Boston. She's getting her PhD at Boston University. So she was already here living in Alston. So just kind of, I was like, hey, I want to be around her. So this was the kind of the place where I settled.
And then Bjarki, how'd you get involved?
Yeah, I was looking for something to do with music, I guess. I've been playing in bands since I was like probably 12 years old. And I moved here in 2017, and it took me a couple of years to actually go on Craigslist and just like see what was out there. And I think it was the first ad that I responded to.
Just love it for a second.
Yeah.
Matt, your origin story, if you please.
I'm from Seattle, but my family, like my dad's from here, so I've been back and forth constantly throughout my whole life. And then I just studied music here and was in a band for years, and then wanted to learn how to play bass better. So I joined Paper Tigers as a bass player.
It's interesting hearing all of your different backgrounds, you coming to Boston from different parts of the country and different parts of the world, because I can definitely appreciate the influences, I guess you could say geographical influences that come into your music. You can definitely hear, and we'll get into that actually. Now, anybody who's already familiar with Paper Tigers and has maybe come across your social media or checked out your YouTube channel, y'all love to make videos as well. Your promo videos are hysterical, actually. I'm still looking for that tiger nut butter in the store, but I haven't been able to find it. I'm thinking it's a supply chain issue. Maybe I'll be able to find it soon. But obviously, you guys, a lot of live performances I've been able to see. Of these music videos, though, are what I want to get into. What we're going to share here in Music Club tonight. We're going to screen a pair of them. So which one do we have up first, if you don't mind sending it up?
So we're going to do Ursa Minor first. So Ursa Minor was the lead single off of our last EP, which came out last October. It was titled A Schism Cataclysm. And Ursa Minor really kind of represented a turning point for the band in like how we wrote music, like how we approached it, the sound that we were looking for. It was a kind of a special song for us. So like it made sense that we were going to do, make that be the first music video. And then when it actually came to making the video, so, we say this all the time. We're a DIY band. We do everything ourselves that we can possibly do, from recording the music to mixing, the mastering. All that stuff is done internally. all the way down to the music videos. So we, Yorkie came up with kind of a loose concept for this story idea, and we did the whole thing ourselves. And when you see it, there's a lot of, there's kind of like this, you're supposed to have this DIY feel to it. And it's also supposed to look very professional at the same time. And much of the stuff that went into the production of the video, we had to learn ourselves, whether that's watching, YouTube videos or trial and error. And then like all of the props and all the stuff that you see in it, we shot at our practice space in the Sound Museum, which is right down the road. Many of the green screen shots were shot right here in my living room. The outdoor shots were across the street at Ringer Park. So, it was kind of like the entire experience of making that video and putting that out. It was a special thing for us. So, yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see it. Let's take a look at it. Ursa Minor from Paper Tigers here at the Boston.com Music Club. Epic. Buddy, is that you cleaning up the trash in the background?
That is me. I took the role of janitor very seriously.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of method going on in this right now. Like, I really feel like I'm watching a real live, like, MDC worker cleaning up the park. Like, you clearly did some real method work on this.
Yes. Yeah, the guys were on the other side of the camera and they were just like, hurry up, buddy, hurry up.
Hurry up, it's windy and cold. Exactly. That was Ursa Minor from Alston's Paper Tigers. You're with the Boston.com Music Club. We've got another video queued up and ready to go. But first, I'm going to guess that you guys had an absolute blast making that video. I mean, you before it, you described the whole creative process that went into it. And it's got to be so satisfying to be like, we did this ourselves and created this piece of art, and it's awesome and it's fun.
100%.
Yes.
So you mentioned too that, I mean, obviously a little bit of on location at the end there, but you mentioned that you'd filmed it right in the living room you're sitting in now, and a little bit at the Sound Museum, which is where you guys rehearse. Obviously, if anyone that's been paying attention to the Boston music scene, there's a lot going on, a lot of machinations with the Sound Museum. There's a bit of a question mark as to where tenants like you are going to end up. What's the latest on that? I want to hear from you guys because you guys are in it. You're rehearsing there. You're part of the community there. What's the latest that you're hearing? Are you going to have to relocate?
I think yes, eventually we will, but it's right now a lot of the details are TBD because I think they're still trying to lock down a location, and they promised not to kick anyone out of the Sound Museum until they actually fully built the new facility. So it won't happen tomorrow, and there was actually a town hearing that Cuddy and I went to where the owner of the Sound Museum and the new developers and a bunch of concerned citizens all got together and were listening to all sides of the story. And the developers were promising, like, look, we're going above and beyond here. We're building a new facility for you guys that we don't have to do. It's a deal they worked out with the Sound Museum. We're going to make sure everybody is relocated. They're going to help pay to move everyone too with moving vans into the new location, but they're not going to kick anyone out of the current facility until the new facility is built. Yeah. So, but there was a lot of concern from people about where the location would be. It was like, inconvenient to get to. And so they're still, I think, shopping around for locations.
I think there's a meeting tomorrow that a Zoom meeting that we're getting in on to hopefully get some more info. It's probably been a month since that community meeting, but it's still all up in the air. We're just going to ride it out and make the most of it until it's time to either go somewhere else or be relocated.
Yeah, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. And I mean, let's take it back a few months or a year or so. Now, the song that we just listened to is from your most recent EP, which you released last fall. Is that correct?
Right. Yep.
So I'm guessing then, and correct me if I'm wrong about the timeline, was that a case of, all right, here we are, we're in the midst of this global pandemic. There's not a whole lot of playing out we can do. We might as well write some songs and record them.
Yes, I think that was part of it. We write songs incredibly quickly.
That's good.
It's just, I think, we've been around 3 years, and I think we have 28, nearly 30 fully written songs. And so, we tend to write faster than we're putting out EPs. Again, we put out, we're coming up on the 4th EP in the past couple years. So we work very hard at it. We work very fast at it, to get the songs right and then to record them and put them out there. So I think at that time we recognized, hey, we're coming out of this, but there was already a bunch of pre-work that happened before it, like during the pandemic, kind of, dare I say the end, but the end before things kind of opened up for the first time, right? Where we were feeling like, okay, we're ready to do another one, because we'd done 2 prior to that.
Well, I want to get into that a little bit too. I want to get into, because a big part of what you guys do is performing live and your live shows as well. But first, I want to get into another song from that EP that you made a video for. It's called Gold Mine. So if you don't mind, set that up for us.
Yeah.
It was a culmination of footage from a bunch of different live shows. Bjarke edited it together so he can speak to it better, but ultimately we just took like random live footage over the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think we have videotaped every single show that we've done, and a lot of practice-based stuff also. And we just we're constantly filming stuff. So we have like our archives are filled with gold.
Yeah.
So yeah, this video was just like kind of like just going through the archives and trying to find something like a combination of us playing live and us just doing fun stuff, because like we are more than a band. Like we just like we're kind of like we're a group of friends, and like we also hang out. So there's a lot of footage of us just hanging out, and the video is just like a combination of that.
Friends first, the band second.
We also got footage of our trip down to
Yes.
DC
Yes.
and New York in there.
Yeah, it was my first time back in my hometown since I moved to Boston. I've been really itching to get these guys down there and show them the DC music scene. And we hooked up with a couple of friends who were in 2 different bands down in DC, and we played a show at this place called DC9. So the footage of us in the van and playing at DC9 is all in this video as well.
All right, let's take a look at it. It's Goldmine from Paper Tigers here with the Boston.com Music Club.
This is one of ours.
I bet you'd set yourself on fire if it meant that you would get some sympathy. Maybe that's something I admire. Maybe you've made another enemy of me. I know you'd never sell your soul. I know you'd never sell your soul to them. I know you'd never sell your soul. Only rented out a while again. You gold mine, every little thing that you said, it blows away my mind. You gold mine, every little thing that you said, it blows away my simple mind. It seems the writing's on the wall, and it's telling you it's time to try again. They say that pride precedes the fall, and that the sword is weaker than the pen. I hope you'll let me be your light. I hope you'll let me guide your way back home. I hope you'll let me be your light. When you are lost, you'll find your way back home to me. You gold mine, every
like the full circle, opening and closing shot on the road with the sunset. Where was that shot? Where were you? Like, are you headed? Where are you heading?
Yeah, we're
That
driving out of
may have
Washington
been
D.C.
where-
at that
I
time.
think that was near New York, right?
No, Philly.
Was
that
it
Philly?
Yeah.
That's real cool. That's real cool. Paper Tigers again, gold mine. Boston.com Music Club. Paper Tigers from Alston in session tonight. I noticed a couple of those rooms. I saw the Middle East upstairs in there. I saw Kodo and Salem. I haven't been up to Salem in a minute. It's a fun little room to play in.
Yeah, I think O'Brien's is in there. There's Thirsty First,
Mhm.
a bunch of cool spots.
Yeah, you guys get around. You're I love that. I mean, you clearly you're building your reputation on your live show. People talk about that. There's a lot of great footage of that that I've seen online, including obviously the footage that you showed us is synced up to what you did in the studio. But talk a little bit about having to sit out and not play for a little while, and then talk a little bit about what your first gig back after things were starting to open up again was.
Yeah.
I think sitting out and not having to play was actually really good for us. It really it focused us and forced us to be creative in what we were putting out, the content that we were creating.
Yeah.
So we really just buckled down and focused on writing material and recording that material and making it the best that we could, and then coming up with creative ways to showcase that talent, that music, without actually putting on live shows. So we did a lot of promo videos and music video ideas and all kinds of little fun things that we were able to put together because of the lockdown. We stayed really busy.
In fact, I would say we played 3 shows before the pandemic started, right? So we played McGann's twice and we played Union Tavern, and that was it. And then we went into lockdown. So we weren't even getting, we were just kind of getting started. And so I think that because we figured out a way during quarantine and during the pandemic to stay creative, to stay connected, and do it in a safe way where nobody was getting sick or any of those types of things. We kind of quarantined within our own bubble. Because we were able to do that when things opened up for the first time, we were ready. The week that it looked like things were going to open back up, we were ready to hit the streets. And so we in many ways had that advantage because we stayed so busy. And to Mike's point, it really gave us time to find ourselves, because I think if we would have just been playing shows all the time, that's a different mindset. You're just out there playing. How many shows can I get? But being able to have time to just focus on the creative process is really, really valuable for us.
I guess the timing really, what I'm hearing you say, and it does make sense. The timing, just with the kind of the nascency of your band. I'm not saying that it's good that a pandemic happened, but I'm saying that the timing of it, with where you guys were as a band, it did end up benefiting you in the long run.
Absolutely. And I think too, that when we came out, we were really, we were not only hungry to showcase ourselves as a band, but one of the things that we really care about is the local music scene. And so when we came out of it, we're okay, let's go build relationships, right? So, we would spend hours on Boston Emissions with Angel Wood, for example, listening to that and figuring out who the who's who were of the Boston scene. In the Ursa Minor video, Little Fuss was featured in that video, a really popular local band. So we built these incredible relationships because we weren't able to do it before. We came out, and then, we it kind of makes you want to go after it. So that was nice.
And also,
it does.
What the music scene is going to be like coming out of the pandemic. We really took it upon ourselves to try to make one, not knowing what it was going to look like. So we really aggressively pursued relationships with bands, and not just promoting ourselves, building up other bands as well, and promoting other bands. And if we have friends that are having a single coming out, we want to promote that as well. So it's just a way of a rising tide raising all ships situation that we really took advantage of.
We have these IG chats where we talk with other bands and stuff. So a couple that come to mind, we love the Salem Wolves. Those guys are great.
Great band,
Black.
Great people in that band too.
Awesome,
Motel Black, fantastic. We Demand Parachutes, another great band, local band. And so these are people that now we're friends with. We've either done shows with them or we have shows scheduled with them. And I think that it made it that much cooler because we didn't exist before. We came out of this thing and we met all these really, really cool people. So it's a special time for us.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like you have figured out, and this is something that thankfully continues to exist. I've been lucky enough to be kind of bearing witness to the music scene in this city for close to 30 years now. And that's always been the constant, no matter who the bands have been, no matter what the musical trends have looked and sounded like. There's always been a really strong community vibe to the Boston music scene. And there's always been a great streak of, bands putting their hands out to other bands and saying, come on with us, let us help you along. And then you can help us along and we can build things up together, which is, and it feeds into creativity as well. And which gives us an opportunity to segue in. You guys have a brand new song, which you've been kind enough to let us, I know that you're going to world premiere it on Friday, but I guess we can call this like the pre-world premiere here at Boston.com Music Club. You got a brand new song you've written called A Portrait of a Scene. So set that up for us, if you please.
Matt?
They're looking at you.
I didn't know he was setting it up.
Okay. It's driving bass line. Awesome, like driving drums. Got some like wailing guitars that sound like Godzilla. We got Mike kind of killing it with vocals. It's definitely more rhythmic and it kind of hits hard. I mean, maybe let the music do the talking, I guess.
Then let's do that. A Portrait of a Scene from Paper Tigers here for the Boston.com Music Club. World premiere.
Yeah.
Pre-world premiere.
Everything we see, safe and sound inside our memories. But I just want someone to adore. So stop me if you've heard this one before. 'Cause I won't fight it, I will not deny it. Let's meet in the middle and avoid a riot. I'm in for a penny, you're in for a pound of flesh. Now I know how it feels to be betrayed by my own sense of reality. I'd feed my mind and then watch it grow, but it died on the vine so long ago. So I won't fight it, I will not deny it. Let's meet in the middle and avoid a riot. I'm in for a penny, you're in for a pound of flesh. I won't fight it, I will not deny it. Let's meet in the middle and avoid a riot. I'm in for a penny, you're in for a pound of flesh. We will be a portrait of a scene, a midnight mass belief they will never need anymore. We will be a portrait of a scene, a midnight mass belief they will never need anymore. I will cross any line you blur. All you have to do is say the word. Let's end this once and for all. I don't know why you are so unusual. 'Cause I won't fight it, I will not deny it. Let's meet in the middle and avoid a riot. I'm in for a penny, you're in for a pound of flesh. I won't fight it, I will not deny it. Let's meet in the middle and avoid a riot. I'm in for a penny, you're in for a pound of flesh. We will be a portrait of a scene, a midnight mass belief they will never need anymore. We will be a portrait of a scene, a midnight mass belief they will never need anymore. They will never need
First listen, a portrait of a scene, brand new music from Paper Tigers right here, Boston.com Music Club. Sounds great, first of all. And second of all, the best part of it is you guys are going to get to play that song on stage at Boston Calling next month. How crazy is that?
Yes. And what's super cool about it, like, is that is coming out. That's coming out on a record. Our next record is called I Wish Someone Would Have Told Me This Sooner. I wish someone would have told me this sooner. It's weird at first, and we've had to write it a bunch of times, and you're like, oh man, I'm sick of writing this. But when you say it rhythmically, it rolls off the tongue.
Yes.
Someone would have told me this sooner. Anyway, so that comes out on May 20th, which is just days before Boston Calling.
All right. So how did you guys land a slot on Boston Calling Music Festival? I gotta know how you did it.
Hey, we don't know.
Now they're all like, oh, well, can we actually talk about this?
So listen, we are not going to presume to know the ins and outs of how BC does their artist selection. But what we understand or assume happened was that a copy of A Schism Cataclysm got into the hands of somebody either on the talent buying team or somebody who knew somebody, or they heard it from the promotions or something, and they thought that we would be a good fit for it. We were shocked and surprised. I think like others, I'm sure they're like, oh man, those guys they're not anybody. How are they playing Boston Calling? And so
Mike thought it was a joke. Right?
Yeah, we thought it was.
I saw the email and I texted the guys. I was like, did you see this email in our inbox? Like, are we being catfished right now? Like, what's going on?
Like we like printed it all out. They come with like a whole legal thing and this whole packet. So we printed it out. We're like studying it. I'm about to hire a lawyer to make sure it. Yeah, it was really a crazy thing. And, I say this all the time internally, like we're nobodies. We are brand new. We're still getting our footing. We've done a lot of work, right? And we put a lot out there, but in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to, us compared to some of the other, artists that have been out in the scene for a long time, we've been doing this just for a few seconds. And I think that we feel so incredibly fortunate, and we like to say that we're kind of like living the musician's dream, which is to be discovered in some way. Everybody's hope is that you're going to put out a mixtape or a record or a CD or something, and then it's going to find its way without you having to do anything into the hands of somebody that can put you in a position to do something with it. And that happened to us. And so it's this kind of crazy, surreal feeling that we want to just get every bit out of, you know what I mean?
The irony is not lost, but we appreciate the moment, and we're going to do our best to make the best of the moment. So.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a believer in things like karma, and if you're a believer in things like energy, I mean, and anybody that's been in on this session for the last half an hour and has gotten to know you guys, this is obviously something you deserve, because as you put it earlier, you're friends first and a band second, and you all seem to be really cool, really stand-up people who want to make music and want to connect with people and want to do good. And those are the type of people that should be getting the reward of being able to share a stage with friggin' Metallica at Boston Calling, which is something that you now get to put on your resume, because y'all are on the Sunday lineup, and that's the one that Metallica headlines with. I think it's Weezer on the undercard, and I think Modest Mouse on the undercard. So that's like the rock day. There's rock on all 3 days, obviously, but that's like the rock heavy day. So it's really a dream come true for you guys.
Yeah, we're going to be over there on the Tivoli Audio Orange stage, the local stage. I'm sure we know we're going to be the first ones playing on Sunday, and we want to see faces.
Yes.
And we're going to give you all of the pent up kind of energy and excitement that we've had since we found out last October or November. So it's going to be an amazing, I like to call alt rock spectacle.
Yes.
Man.
Well, then get there early, those of you going to a Boston Calling, the Sunday edition. And I say that for all Boston Calling dates as well. I like being there when the gates open, because that's a great vibe. There aren't as many people there. The really great local bands are playing early on, or the kind of the smaller national acts in years past have played the early slots. And I mean, Boston Calling is renowned for having just solid solid acts up and down the lineup. So I encourage everybody to do that. Before we wrap up, I want to give you guys a chance. I mean, we've talked about you're playing Boston Calling, but let's get all the plugs in. I mean, talk about we talked about the new EP that was released last year. We talked about the new album that's coming out. Give people the dates on those again and let people know where they can find your music and also where you're going to be playing out. I'm sure you've got a gig or two lined up between now and Boston Calling as well.
Yeah.
May 13th, we're going to be playing Exhibit A with Walk on Mars. Our single Portrait of a Scene is coming out this Friday, April 29th. Then the album, I Wish Someone Would Have Told Me This Sooner, is coming out May 20th. And please go to papertigersusa.com to check out all the good stuff we have on there. We spent a lot of hard work on that website. You can check us out on Facebook and Instagram at papertigersusa. Please give us a like and a follow and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button, as they say. All that good stuff. It really helps us out.
Listen, we love Instagram. We love it. That's what we kind of like switched over to that like this year primarily. So you go on Instagram and find Paper Tigers USA. That's us, and we're constantly there and interacting.
And every t-shirt you buy at Boston Calling of ours, you get a free high five.
That's a good deal. No one gets anything for free these days. That's a great deal.
No, he didn't tell you our t-shirts are $75 a piece.
Well, I mean, it is a music festival, so if you want a price gouge, you're that's the place to do it. You got to introduce us to the dog now because the dog came into the shot.
Oh, yes. Yeah, this is my nearly 11-year-old golden doodle Baxter. His dog's sister Aspen is with my wife. She's currently in Connecticut finishing her internship. Aspen is nearly 11 as well. But I like to say we had a doodle before doodles were cool.
I was going to say 11 years old. Absolutely.
Yeah. And he's still like a puppy sometimes. Obviously, he wants attention. He's like, you guys are done.
Yes. Well, he's like the stage manager. He knows. He knows we're getting ready to wrap up. He's like, all right, I'm going to be the grand finale and give everybody like a good vibe. So yes. That is a wrap.
What they came for, right? That's what Baxter.
Exactly. That's what they came for. They want the good dog content. The music is secondary. But this has been the maiden voyage of the Boston.com Music Club. And I want to say thank you, Michael and Bjarki and Matt and Cuddy from Paper Tigers. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. I want to
thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. And I want to say thanks to the Boston.com Music Club team. I want to say thanks to Mary Campbell and Bridget Doherty, Erica Hale, Ariana McNeil, Emily Turner, and Angel Wood. Again, I'm your host, Adam 12. If you're a music club member, we'll let you know when we're meeting up next and who's going to be there. And if you're not, sign up for the music club at Boston.com. Paper Tigers, thank you again. Looking forward to the new music on Friday and looking forward to seeing you guys at Boston Calling in May.
Thank you, Adam. It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Take good care.